Cody Sanchez. She's talking about the simple businesses that makes you $54,000 a month. $54,000 a month. I haven't viewed this video yet. I'm like, $54,000 a month. Hey, we need to see what this is about. You feel me? So without further ado, let's go ahead and rock out.
Fail. Nearly half don't even make it past 5 years.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
This couple bought a business that succeeds 96% of the time. And with no construction background, Kevin and Kathy went from office jobs they hated to having a rapidly expanding roofing business. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how they pulled it off so you can too. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you my exact 3 moves I'd make to start this business if I didn't have a ton of cash, then how I'd scale it to 7, then 8 figures. We'll steal their homework. What also interested you in the category of roofing?
I mean, without roofing, roofing's always been good, but much more than that, right? It's the roofing, it's the gutter, it's the windows. So, a $15,000 roofing job can end up being, $20,000, $25,000, maybe even 30 and beyond.
This is what's called a picks and shovels business, not a gold treasure hunting business, which I love. No hype, consistent cash flow. Other people have done this before. This is a business that you can count on. Kevin didn't randomly pick roofing. He was searching for the right service business for years. He wanted high margin, big dollar cost in the sales that he could get. And also he wanted an ability to have something so easy grandma could understand it. Okay, so how do you copy their homework? I call this a perfect fit filter. It's how you avoid starting or buying a business that turns into a nightmare, and you find one that fits you like a glove. One, is it in a boring, high margin industry with consistent demand? Roofing, check, check. It's not sexy, it's not trendy, but people are always gonna need roof. This is what I call a Lindy business. The longer it's been around, the longer it'll survive, like this graph shows you. Then you've got to ask yourself, do you understand it or can you learn it fast? Kevin didn't know roofing, but he knew how to lead, sell, and follow a proven playbook. That's key. You don't need to be a technician, aka a roofer, that's hard, but instead you need a smart operator. If the business requires a PhD, bye. No, thank you, we're not gonna do that. If it runs on relationships, systems, and hustles, yep, I'm in. Can it run without you doing everything? He didn't want another job. He wanted a business. Right. So he looked for something he could scale with a team, not something he'd be stuck on a roof doing himself. Let me break this down. In a market crazed with low barriers to entry and lots of participants, aka competitors, you have a hard time picking winners. So instead, you want to be an arms dealer, which means you sell pickaxes in a gold rush, you sell wine barrels instead of wine. We don't want to go after the sexy part of the business. We want to be the person that's selling the thing that everybody needs, no matter who wins. Yeah. If you want to start a highly profitable company, you need to build highly differentiated products in markets without a lot of competition. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Right here, it's called the death zone. What is this? Low differentiation, that means everything's kind of the same. High competition, cups on Amazon. Red Solo cups, there's not a lot of differentiation and there's a ton of them. Okay, not great, we don't want to go there. Then we've got low differentiation, low competition. Okay, this is kind of sexy in some ways. That means maybe it's Red Solo cups, but nobody's selling them yet. The problem is in this area, at some point, you'll have more competition. Your opportunity will get arbitraged away. Then we've got high differentiation, high competition. This would be things like Amazon. There's not a lot of them, but man, would that be really tough to compete against. I don't want to go head to head with Bezos. And then finally, we've got high differentiation, low competition. This is the sweet spot, baby. It's where you've got your little roofing companies in an area where you don't have a ton, especially because they're not focused on this insurance component. So when you are starting a business, ask yourself, where am I? Am I in the death zone or am I in the sweet spot? Let's talk about startup costs. This business cost $186,000 to start. But they got creative. They used what's called ROBS, which is basically your retirement account, and used that retirement account to fund a big percentage of the purchase. And then they could just put a little bit money down. All right, let's talk first about all the costs. So we know that you used financing from a third party, which is super normal. I don't think most people realize most businesses are bought with creative financing, but you had some startup costs. So let's see if these are right. Training, $5K. Yep. Uniforms, because we got to look sharp. $3K. I like the shirts. Bunch of techs, phones, tablets, laptops, $6K. Now you financed a portion of that. How does that work?
So financing the equipment, we just used our cell phone carrier and just financed whatever we could.
Trucks, $40,000 for 2, but you also financed these.
Yes.
So what are you paying? A couple $100 a month?
We pay about $800 a month per truck, but the catch is because we are a new business, we had to do a personal guarantee on it.
Yeah, they got to make sure you're not going to run. Then as the business grows, you'll be able to use the assets of the business and the line of credit of the business to do it on a go-forward basis. Amazing. Let's talk about insurance. Not cheap when it comes to roofing.
No.
So what do you think that is? $3,500 a month?
So there's two different types of insurances we had to do. So one we had to pay upfront for the year, which is about $3,500, and then the other insurance we pay monthly, about $900 a month.
Copy. Then you got some merch because you did a grand opening. What was that all about?
Just a lot of our swag. So koozies, keychains, our tent that we're going to use, just like swag that we can give out to the community just to get our name out there.
I love that. I think people really underestimate what a 5K in merch can do for your growth. Especially if you have a cool branding, like Action has cool, it's clean. It doesn't look like an old school roofer. It's kind of like vintage looking, which I like. All right, let's talk about financing this bad boy. Because I think people hear, oh my God, Kathy, how rich are you? Did you just have $186,000 you wanted to throw at it immediately? But you were like a little bit creative with this. How'd you guys finance this bad boy?
So initially we were looking at SBA loans, but we quickly learned that SBA loans are pretty high in interest rates.
Yep.
We were totally...
Yep, because SBA loan is a government-backed business loan that helps small business access funding with easy approval, interest rates, and longer terms.
Unaware of that. And then just getting
That's why when I'm looking into purchasing businesses, right, the last thing I want to do is get an SBA loan. That's the last thing I want to do. You feel me?
SBA loan with Action Exteriors being a new franchise was already going to be hard enough because they wanted numbers, they wanted your projections, and obviously there was nothing like that. So we learned about ROBS, which is rollover for business startups. So basically we used our pre-tax retirement funds to fund the business, which was something we were unaware of. So I was like, huh, cool. So all of our hard work from our previous careers just kind of compiled together to start this new business. And we were just willing to put our retirement because we just knew that failures wasn't an option for us.
The real truth, you need $0 to start. 95% of startups today don't need $1, a deck, a VC, a boardroom. They can start as a group chat, a wait list. That's how I started Contrarian Thinking. That's it. Cost maybe $10 in a weekend. You do pre-sales to fund your development. You give away a percentage of equity to your investors. Your profit share with your team could potentially be part of the funding. This is how you build a startup in 2025. Fast, scrappy, and free. So stop begging for capital. Start creating customers. Now, if you want to buy your business and you see it costs $186K, your brain might go, no way can I afford that. But here's the truth. You don't have to have all the cash up front. You just need to know how to structure the deal. I call it the 3 levers of creative financing. These are the tools smart buyers use. Let's break it down. Lever 1, SBA lending. Use the bank's money. The Small Business Administration will finance up to 80 to 90% of a business if it's profitable or sometimes part of a franchise. That means for a 200K business, you might only need 20 to 40K. And the payments are usually covered by the business's cash flow itself. So instead of building something from scratch, you're stepping into a machine that's already running. Lever 2. Seller financing. Ask if the business owner might help you buy the business using future cash flow. A lot of sellers or even franchises will help finance part of the deal. You don't get what you don't ask for, so make sure you ask. Level 3, partner or capital stack. You don't have to go solo. If you're starting a business or you're a strong operator but light on cash, this is where you ask for investors, just like they do in VC land, except we're doing it in profitable businesses. You get to run the day-to-day, they get the return, everybody wins. Some buyers use lines of credit, retirement funds, HELOCs. It's not about one funding source, it's about creating a stack. So the next time you see a business that you think is too expensive to start, and you start to say, I can't afford that, ask instead, how many levers would I need to pull to make this happen? Because ownership isn't reserved for rich people, but it is reserved for people who know how to get rich people to do something for you. So here's where most people get stuck. You found the business, run the numbers, even negotiated a great price, but then get hit with the big question, how the hell do I actually pay for this? Most of you watching don't have 500K in cash sitting around, and that's okay. Because you don't need to start from scratch. You can buy something that's already making money. What you need to do is stop thinking like a scrappy, bootstrapped owner and start thinking like a CFO. CFOs aren't scared of capital.
Yeah, I agree with that, because when I can contest to that, because when I was looking at courier businesses, right? And so I'm like, oh shit, I got a truck. I could use my truck to go drive X, Y, and Z. And I could pick up the shipment before I head into work. I could drop this off and make a couple of extra $100. But then, shout out to my guy Battlezone. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think he here right now. But I don't know why it didn't dawn on me. I was thinking about outsourcing the business. And so for a lot of people who don't understand, it's like, all right, so instead of me going out, doing the actual physical labor, doing the actual work, I can outsource the work. So I can reach out to the companies like, hey, listen, if I'm able to get a consistent driver for X amount of days, for X, Y, and Z days, would you be, and I can make sure we can do this on a weekly basis, and we can contract this thing up. Would you be willing to pay me a flat rated fee? This is on the business. This is on the business side, right? This is on the business side. So that can be a furniture store, that can be a metal store, that can be restoration. Any company that's looking for courier businesses that you don't necessarily need, or pharmacy or hospitals, anything of that sort, right? Listen, I got a guy who's willing to drive every day. If you pay me a flat rate, boom. Can you guarantee a route or a route? Yes, I bet. I got that locked in over here. I got that confirmation. Now I go over here to the actual company because I play the middleman. I'll go over here to this company, the actual service company, or the courier company. It's like, hey, if I could, listen, I got these companies that need drivers. And once you, of course, you seal the deal, can I get a percentage of that? Because I brought these two companies together that otherwise, if I wasn't there, you wouldn't have it. Absolutely. Boom. Making money. Now I can do the same thing. So now I got a courier business, window cleaning business, pressure washing business, landscaping business. I can bring all of those together. Because mind you, if I got think about this now. If I got a landscaping business, landscaping, window cleaning, and pressure washing business, think about the companies that need that. You can think about business to business. You can think about real estate brokerages, real estate agents. They're always selling and buying and purchasing homes. They're always doing and showing homes. So they're always going to need the firm. They're always going to need the house in tip-top shape, driveways, landscape in tip-top shape. So if you are in contact with a real estate agent who got the ins and outs, especially when you niche it down, so let's just say you decide to go for the homes that's between $200K to $400K. You got a real estate agent who only sells those type of houses. So boom, you connect with them, you lock in with them, lock in business. So now every time they want to do a opening, opening, they want to sell a house or they want to purchase a house, and they need cleaners to come through, they need landscapers, they need window cleaners, pressure washers, all this shit. You already got the business going, and you just play the middleman, and you just making bank off of that shit. Instead of me thinking on the labor mindset, oh, I could just do the work and then I get paid for it. I could just outsource the work and get paid more than the actual fucking labor does.
With it. They create funding plans for growth, and use tools that give them leverage and options. A tool I like for that is SoFi's Small Business Marketplace. It's a centralized platform where you can explore funding options from multiple lenders in one place with no impact to your credit score just for checking. Whether you're looking for SBA loans to buy that first business or a $100K working capital line of credit to finance operations, you can compare your choices in minutes, and in some cases get funding as soon as the same day you're approved. The goal isn't to take every option. The goal is to give yourself options. That's the bridge between ambition and action. And it's exactly how you go from surviving to scaling. So are you climbing on roofs?
I am.
But you don't know how to roof. I was just up there. It's hard. It's hard. Dude, mad respect for roofers, huh? But do you have to know how to do roofing to do this business?
It's really just learning from our suppliers and just experience, identifying damages on the flashings, damages on the soft metals, the gutters, right? So once you learn some of these things, you just see them over and over again, and it just becomes repetition and normal after that.
So half the job as the owner, I imagine then, right, is like you actually looking at a house like this, like you said, and you're coming out here and doing like an RFP. So you're like, all right, I see here We've got some damage. This looks like normal wear and tear. Wow, your gutter is torn off completely. And then you're assessing, like, that's a $30,000 job. Is that the biggest part of ownership, is like kind of the RFP and then building the team? Or what's the difference between how most people think about a roofing business is like, I'm up there, as opposed to I'm doing mostly this?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit of both, right? Like, as the initial contact with the customer, we're doing all the inspection, getting all the details, and then explaining to the homeowner what we can do, right? Either a retail roof or insurance gig. Then after that, you kind of just, plan it out with your subs, right? Like, in scheduling and ordering materials and all that. But that's why a good CRM system is very important. When you have integration with the CRM, with the supplier as well, it makes life a lot easier. And just following the process, and you just have to trust it.
Little secret hack for you guys. I don't know if you can see it, but from this roof here, you can see over to the neighbor's roof. And what did we find out? Well, we saw that their roof looked a little messed up too. So what do our guys do? They go out, drive over, knock on the other guy's roof and say, hey, we noticed we're doing your neighbors. We're fixing it. And insurance, by the way, approved them to have this new roof. Your house is probably around the same age. Do you want us to take a quote and see if we can get the same approval for you for insurance? And lo and behold, it looks like they might get the deal. Learning sales isn't an option. If you want to scale, you got to do this. I use the trust framework on how to sell everything without feeling salesy. For me, this is how we've built our tiniest companies all the way up to the companies that are worth $100 million plus. I call it trust. Okay, trust starts with tuning in. So you're going to start by really listening. You're asking clarifying questions like, what made you reach out? What's your number one goal? What's broken in your world? Your only job here is to shut up and take notes. Remember, people don't buy the best product. They buy from the person who understands them best. Right. Step number 2, reflect. This is where you are the mirror. You're mirroring back. So it sounds like you're struggling with X and Y. Is that right? Yes. They've admitted their own pain in their own words. Now uncover. This is where you dig deeper. Most people have already tried to fix their problem. Am I the first person you've spoken to? If you already tried something, why didn't it work out? Your goal is to help them realize they can't solve this alone. You're surfacing why past solutions failed. Then you're going to share. This is where you tell a story, not a sales pitch. You use the pain points they just admitted to craft a story about someone like them who got results. You know what? That's like Sally, who actually lives 7 blocks over. And she also had a roof that she couldn't afford until us. Then we've got trade. Now you make the offer. Frame it as an exchange. Your goal is X. The problem is Y. Why don't we do this? This is where you ask, does this sound like this might be the solution to your problems? Because you've listened more than you've talked, you've made them feel heard, and you've made the tone sound empathetic, not salesy. Then when you follow up to trade, it feels good to people. And I think this is one of the most overlooked portions of doing sales, is it all comes down to trust to get dollars. Why do you think you've been as successful as you have in 3 months?
So Kathy and I have a really nice balance. Like, she is very detail oriented, really good with numbers. I feel like I'm really good with casting vision and team building.
Yeah.
Right, because your business is only as good as your team. Right. So if you build a good.
This ties back to when I talk about relationships too. Think about this, man. That's a husband and wife that created a business. I know the last video, I think it was either the last live stream or past Saturday's live stream. I did one. But there was another couple who decided to start a business as well. And what y'all got to understand, bro, what y'all have to understand, you're stronger together than you are apart. You're stronger together than you are apart. There are a lot of things that you can do. So when men ask the question, and so it just ties back to everything that I've talked about. When we talk about money, when we talk about y'all so focused on this man making X amount of dollars. Okay, why haven't y'all thought about this? Okay, I want a man that makes let's just say, since y'all like to be delusional, I need a man to make $500K or more. Okay, what is he doing now? How much is he making? Okay, he's making $100,000. How can we get him to 500K? Thinking outside the box, thinking big, thinking there's no limitations. Sky's the limit. How can we add value somewhere? What skills are you strong in? What skills is he strong in? What's something that we can easily tap into that doesn't require a lot of capital, is very low risk, and is easily in this low barrier of entry, right? now you're starting to think outside the box just a tad bit. Okay, so now you bring this to him. Hey, babe, instead of you talking at him and tune your nose up at him because you seen somebody on Instagram, you seen somebody on TikTok talking about how they're living this lavish lifestyle, or you see some goofy like Yada, or you see somebody like what's his name, Poppy Chula, talking about give her $300,000 just because. Fuck out of here, right? Kick rocks. Not even your richest man gonna do that. That's stupid. But you, instead of you looking at that, you can look at the Cody Sanchez's, right? You can look at the Myron Goldens, right? You can look at the Omar El Takraris, right? You can look at the Jordan, the Jasmine Stars. You can look at these individuals who understand the business mindset, or you can go look at School of Hard Knocks, where they talk about this money in aspect. When we get back to it, you can listen to the Anton Daniels, all of these cats. And so when you start to think outside the box, it's like, hey, babe, listen. And you talk to him with love, you put a battery in his back instead of you talking at him and tune your nose up at him. Hey, babe, I was thinking about something. You know, you remember the conversation we had? Because you remember I always talk about you got to have the hard conversations up front. You know, what's your 5-10-year plan? You dive deep into the conversation instead of just having this, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Now you dive into this shit. It's like, hey, you remember when we had the conversation when we first met and you said that you see yourself, you know, in 5 to 10 years, you making X amount of dollars and, you know, we doing this, we doing that, X, Y, and Z. He can be like, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Well, I was thinking, you know, we're closing in on those years. We're closing in on the 5-year mark. And then before we know it, we're going to be at the 10-year mark. You know, have you thought about it? You know, have you thought about, you know, what it is that, how we going to get to that goal? Are you working, like, have you thought about it? You know, can we sit down and talk about it a little bit more? Because I think I want to readdress it again because I do have a few ideas that could potentially expedite the process. Instead of us waiting 10 years, we might do it in the next 2 years. You know, just kind of brainstorm a little bit together. You know, just something to talk about right now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can do that. 9 times out of 10, even if he don't want to, he might tap in. Like, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. Now you're breaking this entire thing down. It's like, listen, you're really good at X, Y, and Z. I'm really good at the budgeting. I'm good at the finances. I'm good at handling the money in the back end stuff. You're really good at being the face of this shit and really understanding how to be magnetic with the people. And I think we could really make this work because this is easy for you. This is something that you do on a regular basis. And I do this on a regular basis. We could turn this into something huge. What do you think? And of course, you know, typical guys, you know, thinking logically, I don't know, but let me think about it. Let me figure out, you know, what it is that I can do. Boom, 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 boom. You're having a conversation. Now, if you got to give him a little poo nanny, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of influence him and put a battery in his back. You know what I'm saying? You got to do that. But also on top of that, letting them know, like, listen, I believe in you. You know what I'm saying? I know, you know what I'm saying? Even if you got any doubts, I believe in you. I believe in the things that you can accomplish. You know, when you told me the first time that you want to be as successful as you can imagine, I believed you in that. And that's why I'm sticking with you. That's why I believe in you. You can put a battery in his back. That's speaking life into him. Now you're using leverage to get him to do the thing to get to where you want to be. Instead of you tuning your nose up at him, you speaking life into that man. Now it's, hey, you know what? I think they might, now he gonna sleep on it. You done gave him some poo nanny, you done sucked them off, you done sucked them dry. Now he thinking about it. Now he done went to sleep feeling good. He wake up in the morning, you know what, babe? I think that might be a great idea for us to do. I think we can make this shit happen. I think we can make this shit pop off. Cause now you said 2 years. Now he gonna be trying to make it happen within a year. Shit, I already know this. Now he brainstorming. Now his wires are starting to connect in his brain. Like, oh, I know such and such. I know this guy. Oh, I can connect these two guys. You know what? Let me get on the phone real quick. Let me make a couple of calls. Boom, make a couple of calls. He making shit happen. Next thing you know, business started within the next 2 to 3 months. Boom. Now shit is booming. Next year and a half. Now you guys are a year and a half. Y'all making $1 million plus. But instead, y'all want to be like the chick that we saw in a couple of videos ago. Y'all want to be like her just because you make a little bit more money, and all of a sudden you want to toot your nose up and think that you deserve better. Don't make sense to me. Don't make sense to me at all, man. But y'all will figure it out. That's what we do over here on the Coordinator Show. We always tie back to the money. We talk about everything under the sun as long as we tie back to the money, real conversations and real solutions. That's what we do over here. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned in the comments as well. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss out on the Patreon. I'm supposed to be doing another video soon. Supposed to be doing another video soon. Supposed to be. But I'll get back to that. What else do I got? I don't think I got nothing else. Listen, I hope y'all enjoy y'all weekend, man. I appreciate y'all for coming to kick it with your boy. Thank you guys so much. And if you're watching this on replay, make sure you tap in. Make sure you like. Make sure you share. A whole lot can go right when they bless the mic. Hey, I'm telling exactly. A whole lot can go right when they bless the mic. That's a fact, Brody. That's a fact. Listen, if y'all haven't supported the channel yet, make sure y'all support the channel.